Hey there, it's Carl Monger with the New American Veteran. I've got 15 minutes of music. You're going to like it. If you're watching the archive on this and you want to jump straight forward to the actual live interview portion, then just go to the 15-minute mark in the tape. And thanks for joining us. We'll be back.
Follow my feet from town to town. Find a stone and lay my head down. I was born with only one way to go. Life of the drifter's all I know. Go home, I came on steel and steam, living my life street to street. You open my eyes, now I'll be your man. Doff the chains of freedom with a weathered end. I'll be a warrior, live straight to my hand. Command me as I defend this broken land. I'll be a warrior, your fight is now mine. Walk with me. These scars I bear, I won for you. How far I bled, I saw it through. I never asked for a thing in return. You say the word and this world will burn. I'll be a warrior, live straight to my hand. Command me as I defend this broken land. I'll be a warrior, your fight is now mine. Walk with me. I'll be a warrior, live straight to my hand. Command me as I defend this broken land. I'll be a warrior, your fight is now mine. Walk with me. Nowhere to turn, no place to hide this time. No words to say, no prayer, no verse and no rhyme. Nowhere to turn, better have it left behind. I wanna be alone, a place place no one can find. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. And I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Nowhere I've been, the battles that I won. Nowhere to kneel, repent the sins that I've done. Nowhere to send the ghost that lives in my mind. Nowhere to search clues that I can't find. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. And I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Deep behind a restless mind, I paid the price. Nothing's free. The path ahead with memory flare. Eyes are open, but I can't see. Without a turn, I can't leave a trace. Don't recognize my own eyes on my face. Nowhere to turn, I can't breathe in this place. Nowhere to run, I can't lose this race. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. And I know never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same. Everywhere I look I see shadows stare back at me. And I know I'm never gonna be the same. Never gonna be the same.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free and the home of the brave? Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight here and there. The name of the brave. We are the U.S. of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. This land of the brave. The U.S. of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The trail of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command of the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
We were young and soldiers called to dedicate our lives in the name of God and country. Do what's just, boys. Go do what's right. A hot band of brothers waiting on our chance to add one more page unto the victory dance. Here am I, Lord, send me. Victory lies in the spirit of the lives of the men who died for me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord say, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, here am I. Send me.
This is Michael Broderick, Marine Corps veteran, actor, and Gallant Few board member. You are listening to the New American Veteran on Vets on Media. Now here's Carl Monger.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are in, and welcome to the New American Veteran. My name is Carl Monger, and I am proud to be an American veteran. TNAV is a broadcast of Gallant Few Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to prevent veteran isolation by connecting new veterans with hometown veteran mentors, thereby facilitating a peaceful, successful transition from military service to civilian life filled with hope and purpose. Our goal is to connect every new veteran with a hometown veteran mentor, and we do this by creating and supporting a nationwide network of successfully transitioned veterans that engage locally with new veterans with the same military background, now themselves going through transition. We believe this will prevent veteran unemployment, homelessness, and suicide. A couple of quick announcements before I bring my guest on. I just, in the mail here, about 30 minutes before showtime, my copy of Subconscious showed up. Subconscious stars Ranger veteran Tim Abel. He served in the 2nd Ranger Battalion. He also served in the Old Guard as a horseman. I'm not sure exactly what they call the horsemen in the Old Guard, but Tim was one. He's been in a number of shows. I think he's most remembered for Soldier of Fortune, which he starred in here a few years ago. But Subconscious is a pretty cool story. It's got a World War II to present tie, and I haven't seen the show yet, but I've seen the previews, and it looks pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing Tim Abel as he stars in this DVD. First chance I get to pop it in. Raider Project is Gallant Few's focused effort on Marine Corps veterans, both Marine Special Operations and Marine Corps combat veterans, the 11 series. We're trying to network together those that have been in combat with those who have been in combat or maybe been close to combat and have previously transitioned. I say close to combat. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Darby Project here in just a second. Raider Project a year and 3 months ago did not exist, and now there's about 1,000 Marine veterans that are in this network. They are working very closely together, and they are helping new Marine veterans transition from active duty. We're connecting them in the hometown that they choose to live in. We're helping them identify what they want to study in school. We're helping them overcome obstacles that maybe some of them have been out for a little while, and they're having employment issues. Maybe that cash crunch has caused them to have to go live in their seat of their car for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. We want to get them connected to that other Raider network that's out there so that we can help overcome that stuff. The Darby Project is a focused effort on U.S. Army Ranger veterans that does the same thing that Raider Project does on the Marine Corps side, only with Army Rangers. Grant Mcgarry is a 1st Ranger Battalion Army veteran, both Iraq and Afghanistan. He left active duty as an E5. I believe he has a Bronze Star with V. And he is now the director of the Darby Project. You are hearing it here for the very first time. We'll have, I believe the website goes live this Thursday, day after tomorrow, and we'll be releasing a public affairs or a public release at that time. But check out darbyproject.org. You can go look at the site now. It's got a date up there that says the site's going to be live, but make sure you bookmark that and come back and take a look at it. I also want to talk real briefly about one Badwater Marine. A couple of years ago, I met Tony Clark, who was one of the first Marines that was on the ground in Afghanistan after 9/11. He was actually in Okinawa or someplace over there that, kind of in that theater of operations, so he got tagged and deployed very, very quickly. He'd already been in the Marine Corps maybe 5 or 6 years at that time, so he went through his deployment. I think he served another year or so, and then he got out, left active duty. He started doing ultra marathons, and when I say ultra marathons, I don't mean he just started doing like 50-mile runs. This guy goes out, and the first time that I met him, he was running from the Nebraska state line across Kansas to the Oklahoma state line, nonstop, 24 hours a day, running all the way through. He's done the Badwater Ultramarathon, which is 140 some miles across Death Valley in July. If you can believe that, he's done that already twice, and he's getting ready to do it again a third time. We call him one Badwater Marine, and the last 2 times that he's run the Badwater, he has supported Gallant Few, and in particular, the descendants of Sparta and the Spartan Pledge. Now, we had a company last year that made these Spartan Pledge coins for us. I'm going to hold it up here. Hopefully the camera will not be too fuzzy and you can read that. On the back side of this coin, shaped like a dog tag, it has the Spartan Pledge. Okay, come on, focus. The Spartan Pledge is a promise between 2 veterans that you won't take your life until you call the other one first. and talk to him or her about it. And that simple action saves lives. Now, what's really cool about these coins is, see if you can see that on the end there. There's a number in there. There you can kind of see that. This coin has the same numbers. So we got 2 coins, same number. So you get 1 coin, you carry it, you give your buddy the other coin. And it's a constant reminder of that pledge that you take. Now, you would think that this coin set would go for $200, $100, $50. They probably would go for that. But what we're doing with this, as Tony is raising money for the Spartan Pledge, and we want to get the word out, I'm going to give for free a set of these coins to the first 40 donors that donate at least $22. Now that $22 is going to cover the cost of the coins and shipping to you and that kind of stuff, and so you can probably take an extra $10 tax deduction. But what we're asking is make a donation of at least $22, and I'm going to send you a pair of these coins. But you have to promise me you're going to give one of them to a buddy. If you're a civilian and you want to support the effort, you can donate that $22, and you can say, I want my set of coins to go to another veteran somewhere, and we'll make sure that that goes to a veteran that might not have the opportunity to pick up a set of these coins. We're going to go through these 40 sets of coins really quick, and I say 40 because I actually have 50, but I've already committed to giving away about 10 of them. So that's the deal. Watch. The Facebook page is One Badwater Marine. The website is 22422. That's the number 22for22.com and .org. 22for22.org. The reason why it's 22for22 is we have a goal of raising $22,000 so that we can make an impact on the 22 veteran suicides a day. These coins will help us do that. When you go and you look at the site, you'll see some other things that are pretty doggone important too. And we want your support. We want you to make sure and spread the word. The number one thing that we can do is awareness of what the veteran issue is and what we do about it. And then if people believe in what we do, they're going to support us financially. They're going to support us as volunteers. Speaking of that, the 22 veteran suicides a day, I just did right before the show. I did 22. Well, let me do it right here. I can't do it on my laptop over there, so I'm just going to do this. You're going to have to trust me on this. I'm going to do 22 times 365 enter. That's 8,030. 8,030 veterans committing suicide every year. Excuse me, 8,030 every year. I just saw, and this, I'm not trying to draw a correlation between how bad either of these things are, only in the public's response to them. There's a video that's on CNN this morning of some knothead Oklahoma fraternity boys that are singing. They're on a bus and they're singing a song that is absolutely disgraceful. It's discriminatory. It's an insult. And they very rightly should be barred from campus and probably expelled from school for doing that. There's a VA employee that works in the mental health field in Indianapolis that over Christmas does a cute little video where she's got a little elf that has a little caption that I need my meds because I'm having a problem, and then the next picture, the little elf has hung himself with some Christmas lights, and it's an absolute travesty. And I understand that this is a caring person, and she has helped one of my personal friends, but she's gone out and done this, so now veterans groups are calling for her to be fired and all that kind of stuff. But 8,030 veterans die by their own hand every year, and I guess it's not that important because nobody talks about it except in small little veteran circles. It ought to be on the front page of every newspaper in the country until we get this problem resolved, and it's a disgrace that it hasn't been resolved. Okay, so enough of my soapbox here. I am going to, as a treat, I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to play a music video that is my guest. I wanted to play this before he came on, and then we're going to talk to him about this.
This is Aaron Childress with Chili Off the Grid, Dish Network, channel 266, Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Central. And you're listening to the New American Veteran on Vets on Media.
Back in 1775, my Marine Corps came alive. First there came the color red, to show the world the blood we shed. Let's talk about the hypocrites running all the politics, talking economics while the whole world goes to shit.
Hi, Mom.
In the meantime, well, there's fellas on the other side make believe in genocide, murdering and massacring, taking innocent lives. And that's alright. In what words? Said this is war. With no regard to human life, now you try to threaten mine. Say you raise a flag on the house of white. Well, I dare ya. See, over here we value life. Amendment 2 will be your guide, and I promise you, you won't survive. Again, I dare ya. Goddamn, it's war. What good God does? These generations of us have fought our country's war. Patiently we're waiting now. We all invite you to come knocking at our door. I promise you it won't come out. 'Cause this is war. Yeah, this is war. Wow! Wow!
So this is War, and that's by U.S. Marine Corps veteran John Preston. And let me run through his bio real quick. And John Preston is a singer-songwriter raised on a farm in Kentucky and is a great example of a true American born for service. He was highly decorated as a Marine during his tour in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and now is currently a firefighter. Through all of his travels of the world and growth in life, he has used music as his storybook to follow his journey. I hope we're going to talk here in a minute about the song that you wrote over in Iraq for your battalion, Good America, and I want to say congratulations on being picked up by Pacific Records. So, John, welcome to the New American Veteran.
Hey, what's going on, Carl?
Man, I'm sitting here listening to This Is War, and I've got my Bose headphones on, and when the 50 cal starts going, I can almost feel that thing rocking.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say if the sound came out like it did to me, if you get an opportunity, go on YouTube, surround yourself in headphones. It's unbelievable. That's the Marines of 3-7 there, kicking a little butt. That was Medal of Honor winner Jason Dunham's battalion and his unit that was there. So you get to see some guys like Jeremiah Workman, who's another American hero in those videos. So phenomenal stuff.
So what made you decide to join the Marine Corps?
I'm family lineage. My father's a Purple Heart Award winner and Vietnam veteran. Both of my brothers were in the Marine Corps, so I kind of had no choice when it came that time.
You couldn't tell them you were joining the Army, could you?
No. I actually joked with my the next oldest brother, and I told him I was going to go in the Air Force, and it didn't work out very well.
So tell me about this song, Good Good America. It says that your first success as a musician was while you were still in Iraq. So how did that work out?
Yes, sir. So 2004, we were in Iraq. I was with 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. I was a mission squad leader for our H&S company. So I ran 120 combat missions as an infantry squad leader when I was actually a comm guy. So pretty cool to get outside a billet and do what I volunteered to do, which was hook and jab. So we were over there. We were opening a school, something that the world didn't know about then. You know, they had no idea that we were doing that.
Marines open schools?
Yeah, right. We were doing what? And another thing that they didn't know about was the praise that we were getting from the actual Iraqi people, not the people that were fighting, not the insurgents that were coming in, but from the Iraqi people. And we were surrounded by a group of school children. They all got around us, and they all started clapping and chanting. And they were saying, "Good, good America, good, good America." So that moved me. The first time since I was on a deployment, I was a couple months in, where I knew we were doing the right thing, where I knew we were setting a path for a different world that they, were going to have a chance to have. And it was these children, What's that?
Wow.
So we get back to base. We had our little metal cans we lived in. I had my guitar waiting for me. I sat down with a friend of mine, Nick Hoffman, and we wrote Good Good America. It was a battle of East and West. It was the concept of us bringing our civilization that they didn't know or understand versus just wanting to wipe us out and kill us and continue to do what they were doing before we got there. So we wrote Good Good America. We recorded it on a terrible digital camera. Worst thing you could ever imagine in your life, like a little, I don't even know what it was at that point. And we sliced in videos from our own battalion, pictures from our battalion, and we sliced it all in, and it became a battalion hit. So the colonel plays it at a meeting. The colonel's like, "Hey, we're gonna play Good Good America." We're like, "Yes, sir, right on." Master Gun says, I got me a brother down in Atlanta. He's got a record label. I want you to play that song for him." So we're in Iraq. We get his friend back in New York to make a website. We put it on the website. After the battalion meeting, LA Times came to me and said, "Hey, I want to write your story." So LA Times wrote the story. It front paged the calendar. Long story short, it hit the newspaper circuit. 500,000 downloads in a day of the video. Shut down our website. It was insane. And this was viral before viral existed. There was no YouTube. There was no any of that. So I did a little media tour then. I signed a record label then when I got back from Iraq. And basically my goal then was to tell the world, hey, we're doing good things there. Don't write us off. And I believe then the goal was accomplished, and here we are back again trying to make some noise again.
And I don't think in the packet of stuff that you sent me, I don't think Good Good America is included in that, is it?
The song is on the EP. We have redone and remastered the song. An incredible version of the song. Live firefights from Ramadi in the song. So the song is out. It's really complicated. If you're my Facebook friend, you can watch it.
A little bit of the clean version of it here. Let's see. Nope, that's not the right one, is it?
Yeah, that's it for that.
All right, let's stop that. I thought I hit the play button, but it decided to start playing the video. So sorry. I will. I'll pull that thing up and I'll play it. If not at the end of this broadcast, I'll definitely play it during the next broadcast.
Okay. Yeah, so that was it. I mean, that kind of set the ground for everything that's happening today, because I met the record label then. All the Marines that are playing with me right now were playing with me then. We were playing music together then. And the guy that's shooting all the film and doing all these incredible videos for us is a Navy veteran that was actually doing a documentary on Jason Dunham and invited me to be a part of it. He's also from then, so this all started setting itself in stone 10 years ago,
Well, that's an amazing journey. How easy is it to put together music when you're in a combat zone?
It was terrible. So multiple times when we were writing it to when we were filming it, we actually got mortared a couple times during those time periods. But we were on Al-Assad Air Base. It's a big base. So when we weren't outside of the wire, it wasn't too complicated. And we were all comm guys, so we had the ability to go to the comm shop and do some work anytime we needed to.
Nice. So maybe it's because I just got connected to you on social media, but I have seen like every week there's some new, you're being interviewed by somebody or you're on some TV show. You're getting an awful lot of press right now, and that's pretty cool stuff.
Yes, sir. And most of that, it doesn't have to do with This Is War or Good Good America. This Is War is this is the veterans of our country saying, hey, dude, you're not coming to our country. You're not going to raise your flag. It's not happening. Dude, there are 3 million of us that just fought this war, and we're here waiting for you, so bring it. But that's not what's getting the attention. When I signed with Pacific Records, we signed a deal with Boot Campaign as well, and we're giving 30% of our proceeds from our EP sales back to fight PTSD. I have a friend that inspired the song Your War Is Over that has personally been drugged through the mud, meth addiction, a lot of problems, and I've dealt with it myself, and I didn't have the heart to stop him when it was happening, and now we just want to get the word out, not just to us that are fighting and dealing with it, but the people around that need to understand what we're going through. And it's what you were talking about right before I came on. And every media opportunity I get to have is another chance for us to say 22 a day. 1 in 5 of 3 million have PTSD.
Well, I want to jump back onto something that you said a minute ago where you had a buddy that had that addiction, but you weren't, at that time you didn't jump in.
Mm-hmm.
That has got to be, I deal with veterans that have addiction now. None of them are close friends of mine. So it's a little bit of arm's length for me, but how do you, I'm thinking about somebody out here that might hear this message who has a buddy that's going through this. What would you recommend they do? Were there any resources that you learned along the way, or what would you have done differently now?
Differently now, I would have intervened myself. I didn't, I was drinking a lot then. I was dealing with my own issues, and for me, it was hard. I looked up to him at some point, so it's hard to say, bro, you got to stop. And I knew what was happening. I knew that drugs, I knew with his personality in general, that wasn't going to help anything. It wasn't going to make things better. But you would have never known, because when we talked about what we went through there together, we laughed about it or we joked about it, because that was our way of just releasing it. But when he was away from the group of us that were all there together, he went to drugs, and he went to harder drugs, and he went to harder drugs. And it was one of those battles that we can't say, dude, stop, because you're right in the middle of it with them. So going back, man, I wish I would have just said, hey, what are we doing? What can we, you're not a meth head. You don't do cocaine. This isn't normal, and we could have maybe put a stop to it early. And he could maybe have his son right now. He could maybe not be in jail right now. He could, all these things that were, it was a rolling wheel rolling down the hill for 10 years. So it's hard now, but again, that's why I'm trying to fight this fight for everyone else that I can now,
It is so important that everybody understands that. I think that looking out for your buddy, it's natural when you're on active duty. It's very natural when you're in a combat zone. And then you get back and you go to wherever you're going to call home after the military, and it's like you forget how important it is to have somebody to rely on, as well as someone that can rely on you. And it's one of those basic fundamental things. Once it's drilled into you and you've experienced that kind of brotherhood and camaraderie, to go without it is kind of a soul killer.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's two things that we lose when we get out. And it's something that nobody else will understand if they haven't been there. Is one, we lose that family around us. And you don't realize that it's a family around you when you're there. You just think it's normal to have a bunch of guys around you that have done exactly what you've done and understand exactly what you've lived through. Even when the boots come on, you're like, hey, look, there's the boots. They'll know soon, you know. But you have this relationship, this family that it's unlike anything else. You leave, you go and you spend your time with your regular family. It's not the same. You know, it's absolutely not the same. And they don't understand it, so they don't know how to relate to you, and they don't know what to do. And you're always going to have that look of, well, you didn't go through what I went through. And it's our own personal way that we cope with it. And it's terrible that we do that, but it's how it is. And then the second thing that's also a major issue beyond not having the family and not having that there is we separate. We're quiet. We don't talk out what we do. We don't express ourselves. We don't, because we were taught to do that. You know, suck it up. How many times in the Marine Corps did you hear "suck it up, Marine"? You know, so you're sucking it up and you're sucking it up and you're sucking it up for a long time. Your heart starts to hurt, you know, and you don't make enough noise for someone to notice that there's a problem. You know.
And when you get to that point, it's very, very difficult to come back from that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I sure thank you for being on the show today. I loved This Is War, and I'm looking forward to listening to Good America and the rest of your work. So tell me, how do people find you? Where can they get your music? What's coming up next for you?
So we are on iTunes. We're on, if you don't have iTunes, we're on Google Play. We're on Amazon as well as CD Baby. You can find us, come to Facebook and check us out, see what we're doing, because we're going to start playing a lot of shows here really soon. We're in talks with a lot of good benefits.
And that's John Preston Music on Facebook.
Yeah.
I will test
John Preston.
skills. Yeah, I'll test my skills and put the link up here in this part of the interview for the archive.
Perfect. Like I said, 30% of what you buy is going to go to post-traumatic stress disorder. It's going to boot campaign directly to fight it. And then on top of that, I'm doing that for every album. This was my Veterans EP. This was for the veterans. This was for us, by us. Not every bit of music I'll ever release in my life is going to be warfighter music, but every time I release an album, 30% of my proceeds are going to fight PTSD. Until we make 2221, or we make it 2019, whatever the hell we can do, and all of us, like you said, the small community of us that are working so hard to do this, when we get there, maybe, you know, and even then, there's going to be more of a fight.
Yeah, you know, what you said it's absolutely true. And when you look at 22 veteran suicides a day, that's an impossible obstacle to overcome. Yeah. But if you start thinking about, can we stop the next suicide? And if we can stop the next suicide, and if we can keep on stopping the next suicide, theoretically, you could nip it in the bud tonight.
Yeah.
But we can start reducing that number if we're really focused on the next suicide. And so everybody out there that's listening to this needs to think about who's your buddy, who do you need to reach out to, who do you need to let know that you love and respect them and you need them to be in your life, because tomorrow they might not be here if you don't make that call.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I always say that. Call somebody, man. Reach out and talk to somebody. Yeah. And I'm always there, man. You got my Facebook. Send me a message. I'd be happy to talk to you. I'll give you my personal number. We can chat. You know, whatever you need. If you need somebody, reach out to us. We're there. Our doors are open. Our phones are on. You know.
John, thanks for being on the show today. I'm going to drop you some information about the Ritter Project. Maybe you can share that through your Facebook page.
Absolutely. I'd love to be part of it.
We'd love to have you on board. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for everything that you're doing, and break a leg as you're going forward into your career.
All right, sir. Thank you much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
And let me see. I'm going to jump over here and play one of these other. I can manage to not just jump back in and start playing the same thing that I was playing before. It shows how talented I am at operating all of this. Where's my producer? I already played that one. Let's go back. Get in my playlist. What I'm going to do here is, last week I interviewed a veteran that actually lives overseas, and he has done a lot of work with career counseling He has a blog that's called Your Career Quest. And as soon as my Real Player program that's not responding here responds, I'll maybe be able to show you what I am talking about. And I'm going to have to kill that program, bring it back up. See if we can do this successfully without blowing the whole show here. But so I've got a video clip, because what we want to do is we want to start showing one career-oriented video clip each week on the show. And that is if Real Player is going to cooperate with me. Here it comes. Here it comes. Let's see if we can get this guy to do it for us here.
This is our first class retired Mike Schlitz. Thank you for listening to Gallant Fuse, the new American veteran, on Vets on Media.
My name is Michael Mayer. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. After I finished school, I went directly into the military, and I pursued a military career, but then things changed. I left the military. I became a single parent. I raised my daughter from the age of 3.5. I got into sales because it was the one way I could be sure that I could get her on and off of the school bus and be there for her when she got home. Later, I got into recruiting in 1992, November 1992. I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina until I moved here in 2001. As a recruiter, I've covered many different sectors, not because I had to, but because of boredom. I was originally involved in recruiting salespeople for pharmaceutical companies, later medical capital equipment companies, software companies. I got involved in the automotive market, aftermarket, and original equipment manufacturers. I got involved in semiconductor market, recruiting and placing semiconductor engineers, sales engineers. When I moved to the Czech Republic, I got involved with professional services, tax, audit, accounting, senior level management. A large majority of what I do is recruiting lawyers for international firms. That also means that because of these relationships, I've also recruited receptionists, secretaries. If a client had a need, they'll call me and they'll say, Michael, can you help? And I like a good challenge. Okay, what does this mean to you? I walk through the process. I guide both parties. I brief and debrief throughout the process. And I help negotiate salaries. I help negotiate contracts. I'm a troubleshooter. I make sure that there are no miscommunications. And if everything works out great, everyone's happy at the end. So over the last 22 years, I've been involved with every aspect of the hiring and interview process. Most people under the age of 35 think that the only ways you have to look for a job is all point and click activity. And what I want to convince you of here today, find that you are not limited to only those means. And that's what's important. Right now, job markets are more competitive than ever. I don't have to tell you, you read articles all the time about college graduates that are having difficulty finding jobs. It's not impossible, and even if they say 10% unemployment, guess what? That means 90% of the people are still working. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. I'll walk you through processes, a lot of tips. I'm going to challenge you because a lot of the things I'm going to suggest are going to take you outside of your comfort zone, but that's exactly what is necessary unless you want to be like everybody else. And I'll ask you one quick question before we get started. It's rhetorical. If you are like everybody else, if you do everything like everybody else, if you are part of that herd, and a hiring manager has to determine from that group who to choose, why should they choose you over anybody else? If you're no different from anybody else, if you don't want to be any different, if you don't want to take risks, if you don't want to stand out, if you don't want to impress people, why? You are the best person for that job. Why should they choose you?
Thanks for tuning in to my dad's radio show. You are listening to Gallant Fuse, the new American veteran, on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, so as we go forward here each week, we're going to have Mayor's tip of the week, and I'll be working with him to help develop that. There are in my opinion, when you look at the veteran transition process, there are five significant areas that our lives need to be structured around to be successful. And one is professional fitness. And part of that is the career that you choose, how you work that plan to go into your occupation, your profession. The second one is your emotional fitness. You could also call that emotional wellness. But that is all of the stuff that goes into the way that you handle everything on a day-to-day basis and the way that you deal with things that you've been through in the past. Physical fitness is the third, because you built a foundation of physical fitness when you were in the military, and the discipline that it requires to get up early in the morning and go out when it's 10 degrees outside and get a couple of miles in, even if you're old and creaky and you have a replaced hip and you have to walk it rather than run it, that discipline is still incredibly important. And it's one of the easiest things to start to lose. And I got to admit, I've gone through that too. It's much easier to stay in bed, hit the snooze alarm a couple of times, get up, make a cup of coffee than it is to throw on your cold weather gear and go outside. But for your ultimate emotional fitness, physical fitness, that is all very important. The fourth one is social fitness. How do you network? How do you fit in both in your surroundings and in a larger picture? And then the last one is financial fitness. A lot of veterans that are out there, they receive a windfall if they have successfully received a VA claim that may have been ongoing for a year or two, and then they get back pay that's tax-free. And now you have somebody that goes out and buys a brand new car or spends it on something that is not something that's going to help them move forward through the rest of their life. Even though that new car or that new motorcycle looks really appealing at the time, it's probably not the right thing to do. So we want to go through all of those things: emotional, physical, financial, professional, and social wellness and fitness. I appreciate you listening to Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran today. We're here just about every Tuesday, and appreciate your feedback. If you know somebody that ought to be on the show, please let us know. Go to gallantfew.org, top right-hand corner. You'll find my email and my mobile phone number. Reach out to me, and let's get you on the show, or let's get your buddy on the show. I think I have one more thing queued up here. Let me jump back in here to my library, see if I cannot goof this guy up. And it's the way we end our show every week. God bless you, and thank you. Thank you for listening to Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran. Special thanks to Michael Broderick, Kenny Thomas, Tim Abel, Jim O'Farrell, and Madison Rising for permission to use their audio recordings on this broadcast. That rendition of taps is a public domain recording created by a soldier or employee of the United States government, and as such is not subject to copyright protection. This has been a production of Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran, a proud member of the Vets on Media Global Network, all rights reserved. Learn more at www.gallantfew.org.